Today's topic is about being an owner-operator. We have Mando Cardona with us here from North Carolina. He's down on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, directly below me. Mando, we have two other owner-operators here in the room. In the upper right-hand corner, we have Wes Wolf. Wes, give us a quick introduction on who you are and what you do and where you are.
Well, I'm Wes up here in South Dakota with Bullet Angus. We do a little bit of everything, commodity, egg products, livestock, so reefer, hopper, bull rack, some stub deck stuff. Pretty much try to be diversified as possible.
Cool. And right below you, we have Hayden Eady. Tell us about yourself, who you are, where you are, and what you do.
My name's Hayden, independent owner-operator from Alabama. Pulling reefer right now. I'm getting a hopper bottom and trying to get me a bull wagon. Like Wes said, be completely diversified, and anything that needs to be hauled, I can haul it. And that's about it.
All right, cool. Well, the deal with this big rig roundtable, I decided to bring together experienced truck drivers, owner operators, and pair them with people like Mando that may have some questions and may want to get firsthand information from you guys if you have the opportunity. The deal is most of the time we're all busy. We're scattered all over the country, crisscrossing, doing our deal. So I figured we try to tap into some technology and see if we can bring everyone together and spend a few minutes talk about some things and answer some questions. So I'm just going to act as a moderator and also bring in some questions that people have had from some of the YouTube videos. Maybe you guys can answer those as well. But to start off with, Mando, tell us about what you do, how you got the trucking, and what you're currently doing it, and then take that into some of the questions that you might have.
Okay. Like I said, my name's Mando Cardona, owner of Cardona Transport. I've got a 96 379 Pete, 8-inch stacks. I am currently pulling flowers for a local greenhouse here, Metrolina Greenhouse, doing store deliveries for Lowe's, Walmart's, Sam's Clubs, and kind of don't want to just stay there. I want to, like these guys said, they be diversified, haul whatever needs to be hauled. And one question I had was, how do you, from a guy that just started owner operator, how does one start to get their foot in the door with it? Where would I start asking questions, or whose door would I knock on? You
want this, Hayden?
It doesn't matter. Go ahead, Wes.
It depends, I guess, on what you're wanting to focus on. Like with me, when I started 12, 13 years ago, I just had some friends that are older gentlemen, and kept my mouth shut and listened to what they told me to do, and said yes sir and yes ma'am, and was always early, and just got my foot in the door as being reliable, and I was going to be there no matter what, I guess. The biggest thing with it was they always told me, and I've always stuck with that, is don't turn down a load. I mean, I understand if it doesn't pay nothing, don't do it. But if you got a regular customer that's got good potential and they got a load for you and you can't handle it, find somebody you trust that can get that load for them. Because if you tell them no once, they might not ever call again. Right. I don't know. That's the same thing. Hayden's had that experience, but I know we've had good customers and we just couldn't figure it out. And after that, they never called back. So we always find a way to get that load handled by at least somebody we trust if we can't do it ourselves.
Right. Yeah, if it's a general all-around cheap freight to start with, sometimes it don't hurt to tell them no, but somebody's going to go in there and haul it. And if they get their foot in the door by going in there and hauling the cheap load and they got good freight, then they've made an impression on the company that says, hey, they come in when Hayden or Wes couldn't come in and get it. If it's a good company, they got consistently good rates, never tell them no. Make sure it happens no matter what under your name.
You got to take the good with the bad sometimes.
Right. Gotcha.
What other questions do you have there, Mondo?
Being it's that I right now that I'm starting to pull for a seasonal type business on the off season towards December, I kind of want to keep rolling. So, what do you suggest as far as would you recommend a broker or maybe a load board, or what are your experiences with that if you have any at all with them?
Go ahead, Hayden.
You know what? I've got really good loads off of load boards, and I've got some cheap off load boards just to keep me moving. I don't like doing that. I like to have more than one customer, but with one truck, it's so hard to do because during the season you're doing your seasonal stuff. They've got somebody else moving their freight. It's hard to stay in with them with just one truck. So, yeah, you're going to have to rely on some decent load boards, but you just have to pick and choose and watch who you load for. Make sure they have good credit rating. If you're not using a factoring company, make sure that they have a quick pay to get your money to you. Some of them even offer advances, fuel advances. That helps out a lot. You know, just make sure that they're a good, reputable broker that you're dealing with instead of some fly-by-night here today, gone tomorrow, going to take your money and run kind of deal.
Right.
And yeah, we've done both as well. We used the board quite a bit back in the day. Nowadays, we have a broker that we use. We've had enough experience with them that we've got a good relationship. We know I don't even have to ask the rate anymore. I know it's going to be good. I know what the minimum it's going to be, and I know I'm going to get my money. So,
Right.
but we have dealt with brokers that ain't worth a darn, and I know who to stay away from now too. You know, so ask around. Word travels fast if they're not going to pay.
Let's switch to questions about the equipment in terms of being an owner-operator. What do you got for questions that way, Mondo?
Equipment-wise, maintenance. I've had my first oil change, and I kind of wondered, is it easy to do it myself, or pay somebody to do it, or what are your thoughts on that as far as light maintenance, oil changes, and tire repairs? Would it be just cheaper to pay somebody or do it yourself?
Go ahead, Wes.
I know me and Hayden have a little different situation because it depends on what you got for facilities and what you got for the availability of product. We do our oil changes in-house, brakes and whatnot. I mean, the bigger stuff, like when we need an overhaul, we have shops that we trust that we take it to. But tires, I don't piss around with. That's too much farting around for me. If I need a tire fixed, I take it to a shop. But all my oil changes and grease and stuff we do in-house, and any body work we do in-house. But if it's serious stuff, like needs rebushing or kingpins or tires, we take it to a shop and have it done. And I know Hayden, he does it a little different. You can go ahead and tell him how you.
I try to do all my own major stuff. Tires I don't piss around with. Oil changes I do so I can put my hands on everything, check everything. Other than that, it's just as cheap for me to pull into a Speedco or somewhere like that and have my oil changed, serviced, once or twice, and the third time do it myself. Most of the time, by the time I buy the oil, filters, and all the stuff I need to do it, I'm deeper in money-wise as I am to pay Speedco or TA or somebody to do it. But you've got to stand there and watch them and make sure they do it.
Right.
There are some guys that couldn't be in this roundtable that sent some messages to convey to you, Mondo. So I'm going to read what some of these guys said. They're owner-operators. Paul Risler, he said, if you're going to be an owner-operator, you better know how to work on your own truck, and because you can't afford to take it to shops, and that would be his advice. So that pretty much falls right in line with Wes's and Hayden's comments there. And let's see, scrolling down here, there's some other comments that were sent in. David Foster, he sent a message, and he said, try to get the best mile per gallon that you can get all the time. check fuel prices all the time. With the internet and online services now, it's fast and easy. So I guess that's part of playing the system, keeping. Well, let me ask you guys, Wes, Hayden. You're shaking your head, Hayden. What do you think about checking fuel prices all the time?
I mean, every penny saved is a penny made. I mean, it sounds stupid. It's an old cliche, but if you save 2 or 3 cents on fuel, then that's 2 or 3 cents in your pocket when you get to the end of the week or the end of the year. It's a balancing act between, you need to find cheaper fuel, but you need to be careful where you buy fuel or you'll get bad fuel.
Gotcha.
I used to think if the speed limit was 75, by gosh, I had to go 75 or 80. And doing 65, that brings that miles per gallon up quite a bit. I mean, there's a huge difference. I mean, and I time my stuff out so I don't have to push it that hard, Kick back, go a little slower, make a little better mileage, make a little more money.
Yep.
Don't be so stressed out hauling butt to get where you're at, and make some more dollars in your pocket.
Cool.
Sometimes you don't have that luxury, though, Wes. Sometimes you got to mash that motor and get gone.
I know.
Josh Lemke sent a message. He said his advice to a new owner-operator is to realize you no longer have a job, you have a lifestyle, and to take it seriously because you have a lot more responsibility. What do you think about that, Mando?
Dude, I believe that 100%. I've always told people, even when I was a company driver, truck driving is not a job. It is a lifestyle. And I believe that to 100% because, that's my bread and butter now. That's my responsibility. I knew that going in, and I still made the decision to become an operator. So, yeah, I totally agree with that. It's a lifestyle. My wife understands that, too. My kids do, too.
Cool.
Yep.
The guys that couldn't be here, David Foster, Troy Huddleston, Paul Risler, Josh Lemke, they sent messages in to relay to you, Mando. Dave Foster said, you have a passion deep down and you have a truck to take care of it. Beyond just driving, put in the long hours and be willing to do what no one else wants to do. And if you do that, it's what makes you happy, then everything else will fall into place. Troy Huddleston mentioned, he says, and he capitalized the truck, but the truck has to come first. Make sure your moneymaker is taken care of. And Paul Risler sent another message. He said, make sure the drivetrain is up to snuff before any toys or extra chrome. So both of you guys, Wes and Hayden, are shaking your heads about that. What do you think about that, Wes?
That's the base of the whole thing. I mean, both my trucks got pretty fresh overhauls on them before they got any chrome put on them. That's the heart of the damn thing. If it's broke down alongside the road looking good, it ain't making you no money. So
Right.
You're rolling before you got to worry about it looking pretty.
That takes care of the messages that are coming from the other guys. Mondo, what was one of the other questions that you had? We were talking about it earlier.
I think this question is, I guess it can relate to both Hayden and Wes about, I've always had to pull in a reefer unit. You see that nice slick spread axle reefer, and everybody wants to pull a reefer, but I've also heard nightmares about it. It's a waiting game or there's not as much money involved in it, but I just wanted to hear it from an aspect of a guy that does it on a daily basis, and instead of, a he said, she said kind of.
Well, my deal with the reefer is, I only haul basically what I call produce or whatever on a backhaul basis. My outbound freight is out of a chemical company that has to be refrigerated. Make really good rates going out. Coming back, depends on where you go. Florida, the last 3 times I've been to Florida, I've come back empty, but we make good enough rate going down that I make really good money coming back empty. Coming out of the East Coast up there, you're going to get a lot of grocery warehouse loads. It's a lot of waiting. The last time I took a load went from Allentown, Pennsylvania to Birmingham, I set up at the shipper 9.5 hours, and I set at the receiver in Birmingham 12.5 hours. That sucks about reefer. And you run into that a lot on grocery loads, going to grocery warehouses. It's just part of it. You get a good broker that you're dealing with. I got, it's not enough money, but I got $45 an hour on both ends for my detention time after 2 hours. So if you get with a good broker and you can do that, you know, it pays you to sit there. Good weather, you make money off that 45, 50 bucks an hour. Harsh weather, you're letting it sitting, you know, your truck's sitting there running, the unit's running. You're not making anything profit-wise, but it's not costing you anything to sit. So it's a balancing act again. You know, you just got to get with the right brokers, the right people that don't care to pay the detention time while you're sitting. If they don't want to pay detention time, you know, you need to know that going in. Say, hey, y'all pay detention time, what have you. If you don't, then I'm out.
There's a question that somebody sent in referring to one of the videos on YouTube. Their question was, what would it cost to buy and refurbish an antique truck? What would you answer if you're dealing with a truck that's, let's say, Hayden, I think your truck is somewhere near 30 years old?
Yes, sir. It basically depends on the condition of the truck when you buy it. I mean, you can find anything from junk to a decent restorable truck. You know, I've got probably 35,000 in mine with everything I've done to it, not counting what I paid for the truck. You know, and mine's still not done. I still got to redo the frame. I got to redo the interior, you know, the floors, to make it. And it depends on whether you're going to make it just roadworthy or if you're going to make it show quality or you're going to try to make a working show truck. You know, you can spend anywhere from 10 to 100,000. I know one guy, y'all know him too. I'm not going to mention a name, but he's got $500,000 in a show truck. I can't afford that, but you know, I could afford to buy this truck and make it look like it does. I'm pretty proud of my truck. It's probably not the best one on the road, but I'm pretty proud of it for a 30-year-old truck. It's nice.
Well, just so we can have a
makes
reference.
money.
Just so we can have a reference. Tell us about the truck and what it is.
Mine is an 85 extended hood 359, stretched 300-inch wheelbase. It's got custom paint. I've got the custom interior, suede headliner, leather seats, custom stereo. I got 6 10-inch Pioneer subs under the bed. I've got full, basically, you know, tweeters and all that stuff. It's been updated to a 60 series Detroit engine, 15-speed. Been updated to a newer model low leaf air ride suspension. You know, like I said, I've got 35 grand in it, the way it sets, not counting the 40 I give for the truck to start with, because it had the updates done as far as engine, transmission, rear end, suspension, all that when I bought it. So, you know, it depends on what you got to start with, what you want to spend, and what's your goal for the truck. You know, you can spend as much money as you want to spend on one, and you can do that with a new truck. I mean, you can buy a brand new one and put 40, 50 grand in it right off the bat if that's what you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. My preference is an older truck.
Okay. What do you say about that, Wes?
Well, it's funny talking about the older trucks and the newer trucks. I called Peterbilt this week. I'd just been tossing around a newer one, and actually had a guy, I'm not going to mention what Peterbilt, because I don't want anybody to get in trouble at their job, but the guy told me, he goes, I know what you got, and you aren't going to be happy with the new one. And keep it and roll with it, you know. I'll say it. I got a 93 379 extended hood that I drive most of the time. When I first bought that truck, it was just going to be a local truck. And I only give $14,500 for it. And in 2 weeks, the power divider went out, and 3 weeks later, the motor blew up. At that point, we just went all out on it here at the shop. So, I mean, I'd probably stuck, with the motor, the power divider, we got a custom interior, stretched it, custom paint, stereo, a lot of aftermarket parts. You know, we probably got another 70 into it, I'm guessing, not counting all our time. But I know what I got. I mean, I ain't worried about the motor blowing up. I ain't worried about the power divider going back out again.
Right.
We put the kingpins, new bushings, all that into it, and I don't know. Yeah, I just thought it was pretty strange when I broke down and actually called the dealership about getting a new one. They basically talked me out of it because, you know, I know what I got, and with the new one, they got their issues and they got their benefits too, but it's personal preference when it boils down to it.
And so, what do you have for a truck, Mando? We haven't really got into that. You know, we talked about obviously the topic of being an owner operator, but you know, tell us about your truck and how's it running for you?
Okay, got a 96 379 extended hood, 550 cat, 3406E, 18 speed, 336. So far so good, knock on wood. She's done me right. I think with the miles per gallon, I'm getting around 5.5 so far. And that was with pulling flatbed, so I'm going to check it now, pulling this reefer unit for the greenhouse. So far so good, man.
All right, guys, there's another question that someone sent in. He's looking for an answer. He watches the YouTube videos. It's Alex. He says, firstly, great work on the YouTube channel. Thanks, Alex. I'm glad you found the channel and you enjoy the videos. He says, I see tractors in your videos with air lines hooking up from the rear center panel or behind the drive axles instead of hooking up to an airline box at the back of the cab. Is this a custom design or a conversion kit?
It's not factory on anything I've ever had, I guess. We added it on to ours because of our wheelbase. We were tearing lines loose all the time and got hooked up for our reefers. So it's an aftermarket deal and just a cleaner look. But the biggest thing for us was our wheelbase. You couldn't find long enough lines to keep from tearing stuff up. But I do like the look. It just keeps that stuff out of the way, get off the deck.
It was factory on a car hauler option, Peterbilt. The lines come out the back on those, more the ones that have the headboard racks or whatever they call them over the top of the cab. Those were factory installed on those. But other than that, it's just basically either you're stretched out long enough that you got to do that to keep from tearing stuff up, or it just cleans the back of your truck up and just makes it look so much neater and cleaner that way than it does with all the lines and crap run everywhere on the back of the truck. Mine right now, I don't have the option because I'm pulling somebody else's trailer, but just as soon as I get my trailer up and going, my lines will be underneath just for the cleaner look.
Easy enough. So I hope that answers Alex's question. One of the last things that we'll talk about here that's pretty current is what happened to a driver who was using a custom modified bumper. And I'll bring up an image of what I'm talking about. Everybody that's watching this right now, obviously you'll know exactly what the deal was with that, because the guy got arrested for flipping his bumper up while going through a toll. Anybody that knows anything about custom trucks and some of the accessories on custom trucks, and especially the bumpers, they'll probably look at that situation and shake their head. What do you guys think about that?
I'm going to throw that over to Hayden.
Thanks. You know, I was just up there in that area a couple of weeks ago. He's on the George Washington Bridge toll. And there's ruts up there that will destroy a truck, especially a custom bumper on a truck that's lowered. I'm like Wes, I think it's being blown completely out of proportion. The man was trying to save his bumper. My opinion, if I had a bumper that flipped and my truck was lowered, they would have caught me rolling through there with the bumper flipped up as well.
Yep.
Y'all be good. I'm out.
All right, man.
I'll see y'all soon.
All right, see you. We picked up Scooby Melcher. Scooby, just for the people that don't know you, introduce yourself, where you are, what you do.
I'm Scooby Melcher. I'm based in Orlando, Florida. I operate a 1990 Kenworth cab over. and I haul automobiles all over the country, mostly Florida to Savannah, but I can run wherever. But I found a little niche there, and that's what I do. It's my retirement gig.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna have you answer a question that someone sent in. It was a question that was left on one of the YouTube videos, and the question was, it would be a shame to wreck a truck like this. They're talking about one of the trucks in the YouTube video, one of the custom trucks in the YouTube video. You know, they said it would be a shame to wreck a truck like this, involuntarily, of course. If you wrecked it, could you ever get enough money back from insurance to replace it? Scooby, what do you think about that?
Well, there's several ways to approach it. And from experience, as I was saying earlier, I've been showing cars and automobiles since I was in high school. And the best advice I can give anybody is keep the receipts. You need to show value. Not only do you need to show value, but you need to have coverage that'll cover that value. You can't expect to insure a vehicle of any kind for less value than you have into it. When it comes down to the nitty-gritty with the insurance company, they're always going to try to lowball you. They're always going to try to get you into a replacement vehicle and assume that one thing, apples and oranges, basically. And that's not how it works. When we run these nice trucks and nice automobiles, you got to keep the receipts to show the value of the upgrades that you've done, of the maintenance that you've done, how you've kept it new. That's the best advice I can give. And that's your best defense when it comes to a lowballing insurance company.
Okay. And Wes, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I can relate. Back in 2008, I tipped one of our trucks that were running over the road. I think the one that you seen in Chris's first video pulling the grain hopper, I laid that over with a load of cows. And same deal, had all the receipts. Our insurance company we've been with since I started has been really good to me. Basically, took it into Peterbilt. The body shop, the head guy there, me and the adjuster met, went over the receipts. They asked me what I wanted to do with it. And I said I wanted it fixed. I wanted it back the way it was. I didn't want to total the truck out. And after they looked at everything, they were all for it. And they stood behind me because I had the proof was in the pudding and the paperwork. So, yeah, I mean, paperwork, keeping tabs of what you got is huge. And make sure your insurance company's reputable. I mean, there's a lot of insurance companies out there that they're fly-by-night outfits. Sure, you might save a little money going with something that's a little off track or a no-name company, but there's a reason these insurance companies that we've all heard of cost a little more is because they'll stand behind you a little better, I think. I mean, reputation is everything in the trucking industry, even when it comes to insurance.
Cool. Well, guys, that's going to wrap up this first episode of the Big Rig Roundtable. I hope the people that watch this they enjoy it. If they enjoy it and we get a good response, we'll go ahead and do this as often as we can, and we'll have some different guys rotating in and out, and have guys like Mando with real questions that to come into the roundtable and see if we can't get them answered.
Appreciate you having us.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cool.
Appreciate you having me, Chris.
Cool. And for any viewers that want to be on the Big Rig Roundtable, just look for the link below and send in your info. We'll see if we can't get you on. We'll see you soon.